Hey everybody, I'm Jesse, and welcome to another edition of Gen X Thinks. And today I'm going to talk about the UN, what it's about, what it's doing, what it's actually doing, what we believe it's been doing this whole time we've been alive. And to go back, for those of you who don't know, the UN was started not too long after World War II. It's a coalition of nations created to prevent World War III, basically. But all war, they're peacekeepers, but the most specific reason was the prevention of World War III. Right after World War II, nobody wanted to get into another big war like that, so a bunch of nations banded together to prevent it. And that sounds like a great idea, wonderful idea. But the problem with that is that they haven't done that. They haven't done their job. They haven't, in no way, shape, or form. Okay, now they've got a coalition of these nations, and like any other group or society or whatever, you form a group, a union, anything like that, you have to pay dues, because these groups, they can't run on air. They need money. So each member of the group has to pay their dues. Well, Trump's last administration, his first administration, he said that the other countries in the UN hadn't been paying their dues. America was the only one. Maybe there was one or two others that paid some dues or whatever, but he said that the other countries weren't paying their dues, and he forced a couple of them to pay. Canada was one of them. I remember him talking to Trudeau, telling him, you've got to kick into the UN. So Trudeau kicked the UN a few $100 million or whatever. But historically, the U.S. has basically funded the UN. Billions upon billions of dollars we've been paying into the UN, while the rest of the world just gets a free ride, okay? And this is all in the name of peace. So we fund the UN in the name of peace, billions and billions of our taxpayer money in the name of peace, and then on the flip side, we spend billions and billions of dollars on war, fomenting and fighting these wars. So what's the point of the UN except to drain America dry? That's the only thing they're doing. Tell me, if anyone can tell me in the comments, when's the last time they heard that the UN prevented World War III? When was that a headline? The UN saves us all. They prevented World War III. The UN prevented any war. When is the last time you heard that the UN prevented any war? The UN stepped in. I've heard the UN peacekeeping mission many times, but never have I heard of one being successful. That they prevented war. Never. Not once in my life. So, in reality, this thing is basically just a siphon, a leech on the American economy. They're putting us in debt. We're getting nothing in return. The world gets nothing in return. Nobody gets anything in return except more war. It's insane on its face. You're paying to prevent something, and then you get more of it for your money. All this money goes to these peacekeeping missions and all this stuff, and we have no peace. The only thing the UN has done is, besides steal American money, is help out this World Health Organization and World Economic Forum in mass migrations into Western civilization. They aid and abet that. And they're changing the face of Western civilization. Every single country. I see posts all the time from Sweden, from Australia, from Germany, how all these Pakistani and all these other Middle Eastern immigrants are just changing the face of their country and shouting for this Sharia law. This is a bona fide cultural war, a war on the culture of Western civilization. And if we don't start realizing that and start doing things to prevent it, we're all going to be in a lot of trouble in the next 20, 30 years. We need to pass laws against this Sharia law and all this bullshit. We need to fix immigration. We need to do all this shit. But that's a product of the UN. All these people at the very top of our pyramid making decisions for the rest of us. They think it's better if we all live under Sharia law. They think it's better for the world. They think it's better if the population was less. Again, it's better for the world and the remaining people on the planet. They think all these things are better, so they're just doing what they think is best. But it's straight up pure evil, and we need to be aware of that. We need to start speaking out against it. We need to start putting politicians in office who will pass laws against it. So back to the UN and World War III. Look at this stuff that's happening over there in Eastern Europe. I'm not allowed to say the names of the countries because I'm going to post this to YouTube. So if you don't know what I'm talking about, you're going to have to Google it. The two countries over there in Eastern Europe. What has the UN done over there to end that? To end that struggle, end that cost of life and money. Billions upon billions of dollars have been poured into that. Hundreds of thousands or millions of people's lives have been thrown into that meat grinder over there. And for what? In 5 or 10 years, nothing will have changed. Nothing. No borders will have moved. Nothing will have changed. They're just over there fighting. And the UN sits by and twiddles their thumbs. When Donald Trump will get in there and end it probably on his first day, at least his first month, whatever, it'll be over. He'll go in there and settle that shit. And I firmly believe that. But the UN can't. A League of Nations can't do what Donald Trump's dumbass can do. Dumb in a joking way, but it blows my mind that we're fed this shit, spoon-fed this shit by the media, by the government. What a wonderful organization the UN is. We always hear about these UN peacekeeping missions, this brainwashing, these repetitive words that just sink into our psyche over the years. UN and peace. UN and peace. When the reality is UN and war, UN and violence, UN and invasion, UN and theft, robbery, rape, murder. These are the things that the UN promotes. These are the things that the UN turns a blind eye to. For all the billions of dollars and all of the might of the combined countries in the UN, there should be no war. There should be peace, prosperity throughout Western civilization. And that's just from a dumbass handyman in Florida just looking at the world with common sense. And again, they'll tell us that, it's complicated. We can't stop these wars. What? Donald Trump can. Why can't you? It's not complicated. You say it's complicated, so I feel too stupid to even question it. But we're not stupid. We can question these things. We can look at facts and come to conclusions on our own with just basic knowledge that's out there. Has the UN ever averted a war? Have they ever just gone in and by force stopped a war? No, you're not doing it. Nope, they haven't. Why doesn't the UN step in and stop the Biden administration from fomenting war, for funding all this war? Why don't they? They could. All the other countries could jump up and say, nope, no, America, you're not doing this. This is wrong. People are dying. We call, the rest of the world calls for an immediate ceasefire on both sides, and we're gonna come to negotiations right now. They could have done that on day 1 or 2 of this war, but they didn't. The entire might of Western civilization brought to bear to end war and death and misery and suffering, but they don't. And the why of it is obvious, because they want war, death, suffering, and misery. That's their point. That's their reason for being. Without these things, they wouldn't exist. All this stuff, and you can do this with every single one of these government agencies, anything the government has their hands in. And I'm talking about any government. Look what's going on over there in the UK right now. It is abominable. The UK was a great country with a great history a week ago. Now it is just a sad freaking island of pedophiles. It's disgusting. And it's all because of their government. All those good Britons over there, those good solid British people who just want to work and be left alone, and they're getting arrested for social media posts questioning the government's involvement in the rape of their children, while the rapists go free. And of course, the government is pointing the finger at all of the people who are shining a light on this. Number one of those is Elon Musk. Government is disgusting, just hypocritical, vile, evil, all the way around the world. Good things are happening. Justin Trudeau just stepped down as Canadian Prime Minister, so let's hope and pray that Canada gets a Trump or someone like him. You know what I mean? Somebody like Trump in there. Somebody with some common damn sense to help those people in that country get their pride and their nation back. They are flooded with immigration too from the Middle East. We're flooded with immigration from the Middle East. The entirety of Western civilization is being drowned in Middle Eastern immigrants. And their values aren't our values. They see nothing wrong with raping children. That's just a fact. They probably don't even have a word for pedophile over there. And the UN is embroiled in all of this shit. They're assisting these migrants. They're not assisting any real peace efforts. They're not doing their job. And it's disgusting. And that needs to end. And that's why I think that Donald Trump should pull us out of the UN completely, which I'm going to have to edit that out, so here it is. He should pull us out of this too. All of these things, all of these agencies and governments and leagues and nations and all this stuff, they are all centered and focused on war, death, poverty, rape, murder. And that's not hyperbole. That's not conspiracy theory. Those are just facts. I'm not out here saying that, the earth is flat and King Charles is the Prince of Darkness and the Pope is a demon crawled up from the pits of hell. I'm not saying any of that stuff. I'm just saying just straight up known facts. The UN has never stopped a war, ever. And they never will. And I'll leave you there with that. If you enjoyed this episode, please like, subscribe, and comment. If you'd like to support the channel by becoming a member, I'll put that link down in the description. or you can head over to the channel page and become a member that way. If you'd like to support the channel directly, you can do so by clicking on that super thanks button down there. I appreciate those of you who do that. Thank you very much. Or you can head over to Buy Me a Cup of Coffee and buy me a cup of coffee. I appreciate that too, and I'll leave that link down in the description as well. If you're interested in Gen X gear, we got some pretty cool stuff over there at Redbubble. Gen X Thinks and Gen X branded stuff. T-shirts, coffee mugs, stickers, all kinds of cool stuff. But I'll leave that link down in the description. If you can't or don't want to support the channel in any of those ways, you can always do so by sharing these videos on your social media. That helps out a lot. Thank you very much for spreading the truth and aiding Western civilization in retaining its identity. Thank you. If you have any ideas for future episodes of Gen X Thinks, please put those down in the comments, or you can email us, and the email's over on the channel page. And as always, stay frosty, Gen X, and I'll see you on the next one.